That summer is vividly etched in my memory. It truly tested my patience, all thanks to a deceitful woman, my wife, Everly. She was excited to celebrate her 25th birthday by the ocean's edge. We had agreed to buy tickets for July and spend a week at a luxurious resort. However, just 3 weeks before our planned departure, my boss dropped a bombshell. He offered me a lucrative contract, but the catch was a required month-long assignment abroad. Naturally, Everly was deeply offended by this unexpected change in plans. I suggested she take her parents along instead, but the idea didn't appeal to her mother at all. At 45, Sophia was meticulous about her health, an avid sports enthusiast, and not opposed to the occasional cosmetic enhancement. Looking back, soon after Everly and her twin brother, David, were born, their father had a vasectomy, believing that 2 children were more than enough. As a result, our carefully laid plans fell apart. While my mother-in-law managed to secure some time off work, my father-in-law couldn't manage even a week away. David, always the active one, came up with a humorous gift that involved his 5-year-old twins. Serious and married young, he strives to maintain control over everything. Both he and his wife are constantly busy with their careers, leaving little time for their children. Everly, my daughter, is the complete opposite of her brother. She is carefree and sometimes bordering on reckless. Before marriage, she was like Mercury, present one moment and gone the next. Her relationships mirrored this fleeting nature. One day it was one thing, the next day something entirely different, and by the 3rd day, both aspects were clear. Yet, throughout our 2 years of living together, I had never sensed anything out of the ordinary. I thought I was keeping a close watch on her. The instincts of a spouse and expectant mother were tingling, hinting that a closer examination might have been wise. I took care of the minor details, said goodbye to my wife, and left for work. As June came to an end, Everly sent me snapshots from the coast every evening. Sometimes, the photos featured her in sizzling beachwear, but more often, they showed her nephew enjoying moments with his mom. It was clear from the vibrant updates that the kids were having a fantastic time, with their days filled with entertainment, clowns, party hosts, swimming pools, and adventures. On my wife's birthday, I woke up early, called her, and sent my heartfelt wishes, letting her know how much I missed her. She seemed surprised by the video call and looked like she hadn't slept much. She explained that she had indulged in seafood the night before, which didn't sit well with her stomach, leaving her uncomfortable throughout the night. I remembered this had happened before, but my attention was drawn to an intriguing bottle of liquor and a few glasses on the table. In an instant, Everly seemed to fade into the background. "We had a few drinks with my mom last night," she said, as if that explained everything. But really, why were there more than 2 glasses? At that moment, I wasn't concerned, but now I see the entire picture. When I returned home at the start of August, I surprised my sweetheart with a large bouquet and a shiny gold chain. Even though it was a bit late, she still managed to offer her congratulations. By the end of summer, Everly revealed to me that she had 2 lines on the test. We decided to keep things under wraps for now. Everly began visiting her doctor regularly, as expectant mothers have a specific routine for gynecological appointments. I asked if everything was okay, and when the time came, I took them in for their examinations. While waiting in the car for Everly to come out of the clinic, I noticed her folder on the front seat. It contained her gynecological records along with various other documents. Out of boredom, I started looking through the papers, and soon I was hit with a wave of shock. The chart indicated a duration of 10 weeks, 4 weeks from September, 4 from August, and 2 from July, suggesting that conception likely occurred in mid-July. I counted the weeks and converted them into days, and my dread only intensified. It pointed to the period between July 15th and 20th. I distinctly remembered spending all of July abroad, and July 18th stood out as my wife's birthday. I had been on a seaside getaway at that time. Suddenly, a wave of nausea washed over me, an uncomfortable feeling creeping up my throat. Rather than spiraling into anxiety, I decided to verify the facts. I took photos of the documents with my phone and carefully returned everything to its rightful place. By this time, my mother-in-law was unwell, harboring fears of stomach cancer. For several days, she suffered from unexplained ailments and resorted to a strict diet, but the turmoil never ceased. Sophia was overwhelmed with worry, terrified of undergoing any medical tests that could lead to a grim diagnosis. Nevertheless, Everly was able to persuade her mother to seek the help she needed. I was faced with the undeniable truth: an unborn child would greatly benefit from having a grandmother. This realization compelled me to support Sophia on this journey. Together with my father-in-law, we made our way to the clinic. While I waited in the reception area, Thomas escorted Sophia back for her examination. Just a few minutes later, a sharp cry of distress rang out from behind the closed door, causing my father-in-law to jump up, his eyes wide with shock as if he had seen a ghost. He hurried down the corridor at breakneck speed, followed moments later by my mother-in-law, who was hastily adjusting her blouse. Then, a flustered nurse in scrubs stepped out and urgently informed Sophia that such episodes weren't uncommon during menopause. She indicated that since it had been 10 weeks, they needed to make a decision about the pregnancy quickly. I processed everything that had just unfolded, determined not to let this opportunity pass me by. Approaching the nurse, I requested a small favor. I pulled out a photo from my phone and watched as she carefully scrutinized the details, made comparisons, and analyzed the information. Soon, she confirmed my worst fears. There was no doubt the gestation period was indeed about 10 to 11 weeks. In that moment, I couldn't help but exclaim, "Damn," in disappointment, before walking down the corridor, overwhelmed by a flood of emotions. That evening, while my mother-in-law spent time with Everly, I kept my father-in-law company. That evening, we indulged, let's just say, quite a bit in drinks. To suggest it wasn't taking a toll on us would be an understatement. Eventually, however, the haze of alcohol lifted, and we began to discuss our predicament. Strangely enough, we were both on the same wavelength. It was uncanny. Even a hedgehog could have seen the situation clearly. There was no mistaking what had happened. Two married women went to the beach, but two, shall we say, women of dubious morals returned. My father-in-law expressed his frustration with his wife. Despite having raised 2 children together and already having 2 grandchildren, he had a moment of weakness. Of course, his concerns were centered around his granddaughters. He called his son and started off with casual conversation, then mentioned that he missed the girls and wanted to chat. The conversation meandered for a while, as it often does with 5-year-olds. I witnessed just how skilled my father-in-law was at reading people. He began asking about all sorts of topics, kindergarten, favorite foods, and then, without even realizing it, shifted to summer vacations. The girls, eager to share, revealed that Captain Jack Sparrow had visited their room, entertaining them with all sorts of games and tricks. They also mentioned sipping colorful mineral water with their aunt and grandma. Later, they played hide and seek. Captain Jack did an excellent job hiding. They searched for him forever, finally discovering him in the bathroom with Grandma, who was the first to find him and received a seashell as a reward for her keen eyes. We decided not to wait any longer and filed for divorce. Occasionally, I spoke with my former father-in-law, reminiscing about the past.